Hey guys, it's Kim from hernameiskim.com, and today I'm going to be showing new bloggers or just existing bloggers how to create watermarked images and resize them in a batch using Photoshop, even if you haven't used Photoshop before. Yeah, kind of scary stuff, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible so that even if you don't know how to use Photoshop, you'll be able to do this yourself without a designer, without having to hire anybody or like some kind of intern or somebody to do this for you. Okay? So I want to keep it as quick and easy as possible. The first thing we're going to do is, if you don't have Photoshop, you can get your own copy for 30 days, a free trial. Go to adobe.com and get your free copy of Photoshop. I'm going to be using Photoshop CS6 because I haven't decided to pay for the subscription version of it yet. So it should still work on your version, but I'm just letting you know I'm using Photoshop CS6, and I'm also working from an iMac. So if you're working from a PC, it should still be the same, but I'm just letting you know that I'm working from an iMac. So it might look a little, the interface might look a little different, okay? So now that we've got Photoshop all installed and ready to go, and the next thing you're going to need before we get started is have a folder with all the pictures that you want to watermark. Have those ready to go. So just create a folder on your desktop, create a folder in your documents, just create some type of folder with all the pictures that you want to watermark, and that's it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create an action, and what an action is almost like it acts like an automated, kind of like an automated system where it does a whole bunch of things at once with a click of a button, okay? So we're going to need to create an action before we do create a batch of photos. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a picture. We want to open the first picture that we want to apply this action to, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and at the top there is a menu bar on Photoshop. And this is the tool that we'll be using the most. The two tools we'll be using the most is called the Move tool. And if you hover over it, it'll give you the name of what it is, the Move tool, and the horizontal type tool. So that's just basically like the type tool like you see in Microsoft Word. So that's exactly what this is, okay? So that looks kind of familiar. Everything else probably looks really scary, but we're not going to be touching anything else because we're not doing a tutorial on Photoshop. I'm just showing you how to resize some images, okay, in a batch. So using the Move tool at the top, it, has an arrow pointing to the top of this menu here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open. So this open looks like any other open program, Microsoft Word. I'm just going to pick some random picture. Okay, let's just pick this cool picture right here. This is the folder that I created, and this is the folder that we're going to be using. The picture we're going to be using for this exercise, okay? So I've opened this picture. Now what I want to do is I want to watermark this picture. So we have the picture that we're going to watermark. Awesome. So this is where we're going to start with the actions, okay? And now, if you don't have this actions, it probably won't be open if you just installed Photoshop for the first time, it may not be open already. That's okay. If it's not open, if you don't see the same layout, because I design all the time, so I have my toolbars, or whatever you want to call these. I have my workspace. I have this set up how I want it. So the first thing we're going to do at the top of this menu is click on Window, and then scroll down to Actions. And if there's no checkbox, that means it's not open. So go ahead and click that, and it should bring up the Actions workspace or work area, whatever you want to call it, this little box here. That should come up, okay? It'll have all these default actions, and we're not going to be touching any of these. We're going to be making our own, okay? So the actions are pretty much steps or like automated steps that it's going to do for us, so we don't have to do it manually ourselves with a click of a button. And it's almost like we're recording something. So if you're old like me, not super old, but if you're older like me, you grew up in the 90s, then you probably had tapes, right? Tapes, CDs, and when we had tapes, we would press like the play button to record something. I'm sorry, the record button. So it's almost kind of like the same thing. We're going to record something. So we're going to record these actions for us to do something that we don't want to do over and over again. So it's going to save us time. So that's what I'm trying to help you do today, is save time. All right. So the actions thing is open. At the bottom, there's a lot of little options here. We want to click on the thing that looks like, the icon that looks like a piece of paper, and it says create new action when you hover over it. So we're going to click on create new action. So it gives us a little prompt, like this little box, and we're going to name it Watermark. Okay. Don't touch anything else, don't look at anything else, just type in Watermark. Okay. Now, when we record this, it's going to record everything that we're going to do from this point on until we stop. Okay? So, Watermark, record. The red button is showing. So that means it's recording us. Not recording me or you, but it's recording everything that you're doing on Photoshop. Okay? So, we want to get this picture with some text over it so that people don't steal our pictures. Or if people share our pictures and it has our website name on it, or it has our username for like Instagram or Facebook or our blog name or whatever. The next tool we're going to use, like we talked about in the beginning, is the text tool. So we're going to click on that, and it gives you like text, right? So if you've used Microsoft Office, then it kind of looks like that. So we're going to take this on top of the picture that we selected, and we're going to type. And you can see the cursor you see that it's blinking here, right? So I'm just going to type my username that's on Instagram. And if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram at her name is Kim. Cool. So my name's typed out. I'm ready to go. I'm done. Okay? Now, if you want to change the fonts or anything like that, I would say before you get started, make sure that's already, it's the font that you want, it's the color that you want. If you want to change the fonts or the colors, you change it here. Okay? Because if you change it here, it's going to record it here. So make sure that's changed ahead of time. You can change it easily by clicking on this, and then changing it up here. So it has all your fonts that are available if you want it bold, and then you can change the size of it. And you can change the color. Just for, demonstration purposes, I'm just going to leave it as pink. This pink color. I know you can't really tell, but whatever. You can change it to black later. Just make sure you do that before you start this, okay? So we create it, and you see it's recording and made the text layer, right? That's all we want. We just want this text on top of this picture, okay? So, it's recording, and now we want to stop it. We don't want it to do anything else, right? So, where it says stop playing your recording, looks like a little stop button, just like on your not VCR. Oh my God, I'm so old. On your DVD player or your Blu-ray player. Just like stop, you just click stop, okay? So that stops recording what we just did, okay? That's pretty much it. So that's all done and ready to go. Okay? Oops. I don't want to do that. Don't do anything after that. Okay. So we're all done with this. So we made the text. We have the watermark and it made the text layer. So now we're all done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to apply this, what we just did, to a bunch of pictures. This is what you guys want right now. Okay? We're going to go to File, the top. Okay, we're going to go to scroll down where it says Scripts. And we're going to go to Image Processor. Okay. Now, this is going to apply everything that we did to these pictures in that folder that we talked about in the beginning that you should have already created. Now, if you didn't create it, then skip this step and go create the folder and then come back to this, okay? Pause the video, come back, all right? So, we're going to click on Select a Folder to Process. Okay, it's going to give me an option. Choose my folder. Pick your source folder. I'm like, okay. So, I already created my folder. it's here, right? So I'm just going to choose this folder. Now, everything in this folder, it's going to do exactly what I just did to that one picture. It's going to do it to all these pictures. I just picked some random pictures that I had on my computer that I used on my blog a long time ago. So I'm just going to be using some random pictures, okay? The text probably won't show it because these pictures, you know, so I would just suggest when you're watermarking, use white or black text. Just keep it simple. Okay, so I'm just going to click open. So it's going to select all these pictures. You can also, like, if you don't want to, what's going to happen is when you save these pictures, it's going to save its own, like, another folder within that particular folder. So if you don't want it in that same location, it's going to save its own folder. You can select another folder. Okay. Just make sure you've already created it, but I'm just going to keep it simple and just keep it in the same folder, okay? Now, you can save it as a JPEG, a PSD, or a TIFF. Now, you're going to just want to save these as a JPEG. Because all my pictures are all kinds of crazy sizes, I'm not going to resize these pictures, but if you have pictures that are the same, pretty much the same size, you can click on resize to fit and make all of your pictures, you know, the same size. Just make sure that the sizes are, what can I say? It's late, you guys. I can't even think of the word right now. Just make sure that the proportions are relative to the size that you choose right here. So if the picture is 1200 by 1200, then you want to use 600 by 600. Just make sure that it's even, that it matches, okay? I'm not going to do that because mine are all crazy different sizes, but I'm going to save mine as JPEG, and the quality right here is from 1 to 10. So 1 being the lowest quality to 10 being the highest, and that means that the lowest means the lowest file size, 10 being the highest. So I'm just going to keep it kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm just going to choose like 7 or 8. I think it's cool, especially if you're just going to use it on Instagram or something like that. At the bottom, where it says run action, we're going to check that box, okay? And where it says default actions, it should be the only one there because there's only one folder. And it has all these other ones. We're going to select Watermark because that's the one that we created, right? Okay. So we created that one. Now you've got the folder we selected. We want to save it in the same folder. It's not going to save, it's going to save it in its own folder within that folder. We're going to save them as a JPEG, and quality from 1 to 10, we're going to choose 7, kind of somewhere in the middle. 5 is in the middle, but 7 is better. And then we're going to run the action too. So not only are we going to save these pictures like the size, we're going to also do the watermark. So again, if you have ginormous pictures, if they're like 2000 by 2000, you want to save these down to like 500 by 500, okay? Just make sure you know the ratio as far as the pictures go before you do this, because your pictures are going to look all distorted and funky, and you don't want that, okay? So I'm just going to leave these pictures as they are because they're already pretty small. They're ready for web anyway, so I'm just going to leave them as is. I'm going to click run, okay? Now, it says open first image to apply settings. Yeah, we want to do that because we didn't save this picture, which we probably should have, but it's going to save it anyway. So it didn't apply what I did to this picture, so you can just go ahead and click open first image to apply settings, okay? We're ready? Run. Woo. See? So, it opened them and saved them, okay? So hopefully it all applied, right? So what we're going to do is let's go back. Now you see how it has, these are the original pictures that were there. It saved its own little own folder here. And you see my name is over here. It's watermarked. That one, it did save the first one already, so. kind of saved them smaller because that's a ginormous picture already. So it saved it kind of small. But it kind of saves it in the same place. So that's the only thing about it that kind of sucks, is it saves it in the same place. So make sure when you're saving it that you put it in a place where you're happy with, whether it's at the very bottom corner of each picture. And just put it in the middle because, I don't know, it's just easier for you to see, like, get the idea where it should go. But it saved it to all of them. Okay? That's it. You're done. You're ready to go. You did all your pictures. All the names are on top. And that's it. Okay? So that's the end of that. And they're all done. So, if you guys have any questions, leave me information below. If you need clarification on anything, I'll be happy to clarify it in the blog post, because this will be on my blog. You can visit me at hernameskim.com and sign up for my newsletter called The Glitter Gang, where I help female and some males create beautiful visual branding online through my blog tips, my design tips, WordPress tips. So if you want to receive tips like this, like I just did, then please sign up for my newsletter. Go to my website, hernameskim.com. Right on the front, pop your email address, your name in there, and you'll get a copy of a quick guide to visual branding where I'll help you figure out who your ideal client is so that you can create the visuals to attract whoever your ideal clients are, or bloggers, your audience, whatever. So if you have a blog or website, it's really beneficial. Okay? So you can check me out on hernameskim.com or follow me on Facebook at hernameskim.blog or on Instagram at hernameskim. And thanks again for watching, and have an amazing day.